Alright guys, so this video should be a pretty helpful one for like the 99 Rangers, and I'm sure it goes for other years as well. But I came across this job today and I was looking for some input online on how to do it, and everybody said pull the motor, it's easier, pull the motor, it's easier, da 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 da. Fuck that. I was not pulling no motor to get this oil pan gasket out. Obviously I couldn't record at work, so what I did was I took pictures and stuff, and I'm just going to explain it through the pictures. Some of the pictures might not exactly match, but you should have a little bit of knowledge anyways before jumping into this job. So with that being said, if you do have the knowledge, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. This will help you get the job done. You should be able to complete this job in 2 hours or less. I actually had to do it twice because when removing it, the oil pump pickup grabbed the shield inside the pan and it bent it up slightly, like not even a quarter inch, and then the crank was hitting the shield. So once you get the pan out, make sure that the shield inside the pan isn't bent up at all. Even push them down just a little bit just to be on the safe side, because when I put it back together it sounded like the motor was knocking. So I had to take it back apart and do it again, and I did it even faster. So just pay attention carefully and look at it. There's only 10 nuts and bolts to remove besides the oil pan bolts. So it's very quick, and it can be done without pulling the engine or pulling the transmission. Okay, it looks a little more intimidating than it is, but it's really not hard. All right, you can jack the engine up enough to get it out. So here we go. We're gonna go through it right now. Okay, so first thing you're going to want to do is remove or disconnect your battery, alright, because you're going to be moving the starter around. Now, once you disconnect your battery, you're going to go ahead and remove the two 10mm nuts shown here. Remove those. Once you remove those, gently pull up on the shroud till the bottom clips come out. They'll just pop out, and then just leave it float there. Okay. Then next, disconnect the air cleaner from the box where the filter sits, and just undo that and let that sit there because you're going to be jacking up the engine. Okay, so next, this is a little harder to see, and I understand that, I'm sorry, but if you look under your exhaust manifold, right by where the circle is, down there you'll see two studs with two 18mm bolts on, or nuts on them. You're going to remove those. You're going to see them, they're going to be staggered a little. You're going to have one down lower and then one right next to it. Those are on your motor mounts. Remove those 18mm fasteners, then go on the other side and remove those two as well. You're going to need a long 1/2-inch extension with a swivel and an 18mm socket. I believe it's 18mm, preferably an impact gun to blast them right out of there. Alright, now moving underneath the vehicle. Once you're underneath the vehicle, locate your starter. Remove the three 13mm bolts. You can get two of them with an extension and swivel, and the other one you might need like a ratcheting wrench. Once you start them, you can probably get them out with your fingers. And once you remove that, once you pull the starter out, don't worry about disconnecting the wires because you disconnected the battery. All we need to do is move it out of the way, and there will be a shim there. Just pull the shim off, and then make sure the starter's set to the side so you can get to the oil pan bolts. Once that is done, you can go ahead and remove your oil pan bolts. Those there are 10mm, and the front two, the two closest to the front of the engine, are longer. Make sure you put those to the side because those need to go back where they came from. All the rest are the same, and you do not need to worry about them. Now this step here can be done before or after you drop the pan. Now the pan's, after you take the bolts out, the pan's going to stay up there. You're going to have to pry down a little. But this here is a 13mm bolt. You want to pull it out of the front diff where it's circled. Alright, this will obviously be in the vehicle. Remove the 13mm bolt. It's got a self-holding nut on the back of it, so once you pull that out, that's going to drop, so it makes it nice and easy. Once you get that bolt out, pull down on that shaft, the differential shaft, and it'll pull down quite a bit. You might have to pry it or whatever, but you should just be able to pull on it and it'll drop right down. Once you drop it down, pull it as far as pretty much you can get it, and then just let it go, and that'll be as far as it needs to be. It'll stay where it's got to be. This right here is the whole key to being able to do this without dropping the engine or the whole differential. This will work, I promise you. Now this image here is going to vary from your vehicle. This isn't the exact cross member, but where these bolts are, or these nuts are right here, you want to remove those. I believe they're 18 millimeter or 16, one of the two. I think they're 18. Take those out and you're good to go. Don't worry about leave the transfer case, everything. This is just a picture of these two nuts. Just remove those two nuts. And then once those two nuts are done, move on to the next step. So that's it. Now you're at the final part. What you want to do now is get your jack and maybe like a 2x6 or something, and you want to place the jack and the 2x6 or whatever in between the oil pan and the exhaust on the transmission. You'll see your exhaust pipe there. You want to put the 2x6 on the transmission in front of the exhaust, in between the oil pan and the exhaust. You can't miss it. Just make sure you're on the transmission. Now you're going to jack up. As you're jacking up, you're going to see the motor mount start coming off of the studs under the engine or on the sides of the engine, and then you're going to see your transmission coming out of the transmission mount. And this is fine. This is what you want. Now keep going until they come out. You want the 4 up top to come out, and then the 2 transmission ones to come out. Now once you get that out, now you could try and pull your pan down and get it out of the way. I was able to get it out at this step right here. But the first time I thought I had to back it out with a pry bar. I grabbed the pry bar and I shifted the whole engine and transmission back an inch or 2. Alright, and don't worry about this because it's easy to move. You'll see once you get it moving, it moves around freely, and lining it up will be a cinch when you're done. So go ahead and pry up on that, or I'm sorry, jack up on that until it's all the way up and off the bolts, and then go ahead and you can finagle your pan out of there gently. Again, if that doesn't work, go to the cross member, stick your pry bar in the cross member, and put the edge, the flat or the bar side on the cross member, and then the tip of your pry bar on the transmission in one of the grooves there, and then just pry it, and it'll slide the whole engine and transmission back just enough for you to get the rest of the clearance you need. And that's it. That's how you drop it. It'll come right out. I promise you, if you follow these steps, it'll work, and you can do it in less than 2 hours. Everywhere I said that it was a nightmare, it was a headache, it was very, very easy and very, very fast. Again, just make sure you don't pull up on that shield inside the oil pan. Otherwise, when you put it back together, you will get a knock. And also, too, when you're installing the new gasket, make sure you put silicone on the areas that require silicone. For a diagram of that, you can look online and see exactly where it needs to go. There's 4 places you need to put silicone, and then make sure you tighten all your bolts to spec. I believe, don't quote me on this, and I'll try and find it, but I think it was 140 inch-pounds, 142 inch-pounds, and that's it. And then you throw it all back together. It goes back together quick and easy. It's like not even funny. You might be able to do it in an hour and a half, hour and 20 minutes. So give it a shot. Hope this video helped you guys. Hey guys, I know this wasn't the greatest video, and I apologize, but there was nothing I could do. I couldn't record it at work, and I felt I needed to show people this because everyone's saying it's a hard job. It wasn't hard at all. The first time was a little tricky because I didn't know how to go about it, but then once I got in and figured everything out, it worked out perfectly. So it wasn't a very, very hard job at all. On a scale from 1 to 10, I'd say a 2. Once you get everything loose and free, like your motor mounts out and your trans mount out, you can shake and rock the motor back and forth. Like if it pops out, don't be scared. It will go back in with a little bit of prying. And you could go pretty high with the motor. That's why I had you disconnect the shroud and everything. The way I did this, it makes it so easy and so quick. You don't have to fuck with anything. It's literally, I believe it's 10 fasteners altogether, and then your oil pan bolts, however many those are. Basically, this is just removal. If you can remove it, you can install it. You know what I mean? Like it's just the process backwards. Make sure your mounts are lined back up when you drop the motor back down nice and slowly, and that's it. That's all you got. Make sure they're torqued to spec. And what else? Oh, that's it. If you dislike the video, I'm sorry, man. I tried to help. That's all I did. I tried to help. You know, sue me for trying to help. You know, maybe this will help somebody. Maybe I did a good deed for the day. I don't know. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I did the best I could. See you in the next video.